Well, good afternoon to everybody, or good evening, depending on what part of the world you're in. Or I guess it could be good morning or good night. All right. The Flyers went in against the Rangers today and did what the Flyers do. They beat the Rangers, but this game ended up being kind of close at the end of it. And so, for the narrative that's out there, I'm going to say this: Henrik Lundqvist has kind of lost his step, but at the same time, I think this speaks for how well Shesterkin and Georgiev are playing. And let's go through the game and I'll discuss. Right off the bat, they talk about how Lundqvist is in the net for the first time since February 3rd as a starter. And Carter Hart came into today 3-10-1 on the road with an 855 save percentage. His numbers on the road have been abysmal. So that's a big part of the reason why the Flyers don't have a great road record coming into today. But they evened it at 500, so we'll see if they can get better going forward. There was a first minute power play, first minute for the Flyers. And it's like, okay, so if they kill this off, and they don't. Niskanen scores from Kubel and Sanheim at 152. And it was a nice deflection and all of this, and Lundqvist may not have fully seen it. The Rangers get a power play, and that's when it's notable there's deflections going on at both ends of the rink. So to try to confuse and frustrate goaltenders, you just get as much traffic to the net as possible, and then there's deflections, crazy deflections all over the place. Hart denied Kakko right in the slot in front of the net. Zibanejad then had a break that was stopped, and then there was a careless hook by, I believe it was Howden that had that one. Regardless, the Flyers go back to the power play and they score on it again. So where the Rangers really need a penalty kill, they don't get it. It's Couturier from Voracek and Konechny at 11-19. And this is where they start talking about the two goals for the Flyers and how, their cross-crease passes. And, well, Lundqvist doesn't have a chance here. But one thing that I noticed at this point in the game is where Shesterkin might not have allowed a rebound, Lundqvist does. So Lundqvist making that initial save, pretty good initial save, but where does that rebound go? Goes to the bad guys, and it ends up in the back of his net after. So that's a noteworthy difference between Georgiev, Shesterkin, and Lundqvist. And this is something that, we'll see if he gets another shot at the net after this. It may be a while before he does again. And so the Rangers get a late power play. During their power play, it's a shorthanded goal. It's Raffle scoring from Grant at 17:53. Great play at their blue line by Raffle. Grant gets the puck, feeds it back over to Raffle, and Raffle puts it in the net. Grant's already proving to Flyers fans why I was so bullish on that move, and I thought it was a great move, and they didn't give up anything really to get him from Anaheim. And that was a great move by them. And it's 3-0 Flyers after one. So second period, 1 minute and 23 seconds in. It's Grant on a breakaway from Pitlick at 123. And that's where I thought, now it was a nice play, but again, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, would Shesterkin have poke-checked him right there? Where Lundqvist kind of backs in a little bit and he ends up getting deked around by Grant. Great play by Grant. Does Shesterkin poke-check him there? And that's where the questions come in for me. Hart then stopped Buchnevich and close. Lemieux dropped the gloves. He wanted to fire up his team, and Kubel just kind of looked at him. Like, no. And this is where it's smart. When, the team that's down is trying to, we're going to get everybody into this, and I'm going to have a fight with you. And why should I have a fight with you? We're up 4-0. No. So Lemieux got 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct and a 10-minute misconduct on top of that. So it's a power play for the Flyers. They don't score on that. Then the Rangers finally show some pushback. They get a good shot from the point, and it hits Haig right in the helmet. So immediately they call for a whistle, and this is how the day went for the Rangers to this stage, where they finally get some pressure, and right off the bean of Haig, whistle, and that ends the pressure. And I put up there, the Flyers are just a bad matchup for the Rangers. It's been this way all year. So while there may be an overreaction to the last 2 games for people who want to see the Rangers fail, I just look at it as the Flyers have their number. And the Flyers have had their number all season, and it hasn't changed. The additions for the Flyers have made them stronger. There's a power play for the Rangers, and I put on the board they need momentum. And they did. And they kind of get that. Zibanejad with the power play goal from Panarin and D'Angelo at 12 minutes and 34 seconds. And then after that's done, he draws another penalty. Zibanejad manages to make the Flyers take another penalty, so the Rangers go back on the power play. The Flyers killed that, and then the Flyers get another power play. So when the Flyers get a power play, they score their 3rd power play goal. Power plays, not a problem today. Penalty killing, kind of sort of was. Konechny from Voracek and Provorov is your power play goal at 15:34. It took 5 seconds into that power play. Now, again, it takes 5 seconds from the faceoff, but Brendan Smith has got to be covering a little better than that. It goes right through Trouba. I know I talked about shot blocks. This isn't about shot blocks. This is just about having your stick on the ice and trying to prevent them from getting it through two of your defensemen to the waiting stick of Konechny. So Konechny puts it in and makes it a pretty lopsided score of 5-1. And then the Rangers went right back into the box right after that. So really going into the third, it's 5-1, and it looks like the Rangers are done. So third period, Brendan Smith hits a post. The Rangers would end up getting a power play on that same play, and Buchnevich gets the power play goal from D'Angelo and Zibanejad at 5:33. So Zibanejad with a goal and an assist to that point in the game. Lundqvist made some highlight reel saves in that third period. He looked uncomfortable. And not only that, but the body language, and I don't know if he was aware this was going on or maybe this is just a thing, but he kept, every time they showed him, he was just kind of shaking his head after a goal. I don't know if he was mad at himself. I know he's been very outspoken in past instances, and I'm talking about like a couple years ago, where he would call out his defense in front of him for some bad plays. In this case, I think he was just kind of beating up on himself a little bit when these things would happen. So he recovered in the third and played pretty darn well. The Rangers get another power play, and they talked about and showed throughout the game, and I thought this was a good place to put this here. Kevin Hayes, what he's done this year with the Flyers, that I think he's doing better this year than ever in his career, is just that 200-foot game, where I don't know how many times the Rangers would have the puck in the Flyers' end, and it was Hayes that was defending, but it was a lot. Now, meanwhile, the Rangers at times had a forward playing defense, and then there was a break for Trouba, and I'm like, well, that's not going to go in because it's Jacob Trouba. They're like, great break for the Rangers, and I thought, but it's Trouba. Why is there a forward on the blue line covering for Trouba, and now Trouba's going the other way? This is the kind of thing that causes Ranger fans to lose their minds about defensemen, and we always see defensemen getting traded away from the Rangers. I really think there's something to do with the way that they're coached, because, again, it can't be every single defenseman that comes through the Rangers not being any good. Zibanejad then gets a power play goal from Panarin and Howden at 12:39, and that makes it interesting. That makes it 5-3. Hards denied Zibanejad. He was going for the hat trick on that. And the Rangers pushed pretty heavily with 5 minutes left. And it's at that point they start watching Lundqvist and saying, how soon, how proactive is he going to be about pulling the goaltender? Well, he waits until there's 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, and the Rangers put on all the pressure in the world. Zibanejad had many, many chances. That's going to haunt his dreams tonight, how many opportunities he had right next to the net. Could not put one in, but they needed two. So even though you could point out the occasional play there where maybe he should have put it in, they needed two, and the Flyers weren't allowing two today. So Carter Hart gets the win. That's 6 wins in a row for the Flyers. Do not take these Flyers lightly. They have depth. They can roll 4 lines, 6 defensemen, picking up Thompson and Grant at the deadline. Those were strokes of genius. And they've scored 4 more goals in their last 6 games as well. So they're winning. They're winning it by offense. Their power play was fantastic, going 3 for 5. The Rangers' power play was 3 for 6. So if you come out of today with anything to work on as a Livigno, it's the penalty kill. Although, yes, they did get a shorthanded goal today as well. So special teams working pretty well for Philadelphia, but allowing 3 out of 6. That's something that they're going to want to clean up. So coming out of today, if you're a Rangers fan, are you concerned? Sure. Panicking? No. There's still 17 games left in the season, and they're still just the 2 points out. They do still have a game in hand on teams that they're chasing, so it's not the end of the world here. And in all honesty, that Columbus spot looks like it's still right for the taking, even though, like I said, the Rangers lose one of their games in hand today. Hart saved 23 out of 26. Lundqvist saved 21 out of 26. Like I said, I would be very surprised if Lundqvist sees the net again this season. Unless the Rangers completely fall out of it. I don't know. I don't see him back in there. Those second shots, those secondary shots, secondary chances that I don't think Shesterkin or Georgiev would have allowed was what sank him today. Your 3 stars are Grant. I agree with him being the first star. He was fantastic. Konechny and Zibanejad as the third star. If he got the hat trick, he would have moved up to second, but he didn't. So for the Rangers, it didn't end up being that bad. They do get the 2 goals in the third to kind of make things look a little less lopsided, but there is some reason for concern. And for the Flyers, again, they're now 500 on the road. That's what they needed to fix. They did. And now they look just as darn good on the road as they do at home. Shots 13-9 in the first in favor of the Flyers, 7-5 Flyers in the second, and then in the third, 12-6 in favor of the New York Rangers. Final shots 26 apiece. They interviewed Voracek after the game. He figured the third period went against them because he felt they let up a bit in the third period. I think there was some of that, but again, if they'd killed off one of these power plays, things would have been a lot easier for them. But again, both teams are going to have to work on that penalty kill. The Rangers really need to work on that penalty kill. But we'll see where things end up. Georgiev stayed on that bench. I was personally kind of surprised that when it was 3-0 after the first, they didn't go with Georgiev, but clearly Quinn was sticking with Lundqvist through the whole 60 minutes today. So we'll see how things go from here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. We have the Flames and the Panthers starting up pretty soon. That'll get its own video as well. So thank you guys so much for all your support. Do hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through just happened upon this video. I will talk to you guys again very soon.